Okay, so start off with 250 grams of plain white flour, a pinch of salt, 2.5 tablespoons of cornstarch, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and you want to give that a really good mix. Just place that to a side, and then you want 140 grams of unsalted butter, and we're going to melt that. So I like to just put it into a measuring jug or a cup and then microwave it for about 1.5 minutes. And you just want to place that to a side and leave it to cool down until it's almost room temperature again. Okay, I'm going to make my life easier and just prep the chocolate and put it to a side. So I've got 200 grams of dark chocolate, and I'm just going to cut that into large chunks. This honestly depends on how you like your chocolate chips, but this is the size that I roughly like. And then you want to prep your eggs. I'm using 1 medium egg and 2 yolks. Add 140 grams of dark brown sugar and 60 grams of white sugar into a freestanding mixer and use the whisk attachment. You can just use a large bowl and hand whisk. Once the sugars have mixed well, you want to slowly add your butter and then go ahead and add your eggs. I'm trying to attempt to do 1 yolk at a time, but it clearly failed me. That's okay. And then we're going to add the flour. I'm doing it spoonful by spoonful just to make sure it incorporates very well, and I'm also trying to prevent creating a massive mess. Once you've got all that flour mixed in, you should end up with some dough looking like this. It's pretty hard to not constantly munch on this, but you've got this, try not to do it. And then we're going to change it to a paddle attachment. Go ahead and add that chocolate that we prepared earlier on, and then I'm going to add 25 grams of milk chocolate chips. This is totally optional, and then 1 cup of chopped up hazelnuts. You can use any nuts you want, and then you just want to turn it on, but make sure to use a low speed because it can be a little rough, and then you end up with something like this. This looks even better than it did before. So now you want to cover it and you want to refrigerate it for at least 1 hour, guys. This is what's going to give height to our cookies. Once the dough comes out of the refrigerator, it'll be pretty tough to work with, but you've got this. I'm just using an ice cream scoop, and you want to grab a large handful and just roll them up into a large ball. Once you've finished rolling out all the balls, we're going to cover them and put them in the freezer this time for about 30 minutes. And a little tip here is you don't have to bake them all at once. You can individually roll them up and then put them in the freezer and just bake as you go along when and if you want to eat them. Out the freezer they come. You want to grab a baking tray and put some parchment paper on it, and then place the cookie dough on top of it, making sure that there's space between them, and then place them in an oven that you've preheated 220 degrees Celsius for about 12 to 14 minutes, or until lightly brown like this. I know they look good enough already, but you need to leave these cookies to cool down for at least 20 minutes. Just look how gooey they are, crispy on the base, and although they've been resting for a while now, look how gooey the inside remains. Look at the height, and they are incredibly soft. I could honestly eat these every day of my life. And that's a wrap from me. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you take the time to recreate these cookies, and if you've enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to see more.